back to another episode of One Down Adventures. It is 3:55 a.m. and I'm severely late to meet Josh and Ben at the boat ramp for diving. I just got back from a 14-hour drive from DC and I'm literally just turning right around and headed out to go out diving. I got some gear in the back. Actually, do I have my fins? Yes, I have my fins. Okay, and gotta get some snacks on the way, but I will see you guys at the boat ramp. Welcome back underwater, everybody. I know it's been almost 2 weeks since the last video. I got pretty sick and got slammed with work stuff. But we are back in the water here with Ben, and there's lots of sharks around. We spend most of the beginning of the dive day fending off sharks, which is not great for the heart rate, hence why I had the heart rate for my Garmin up, because I wasn't able to really get it low into the ideal range for diving, which is, I think, in the 50s. Sometimes you can get it even into the 40s. And, you know, the 60 range is okay, but for your deepest drops, you really want it to be in the 50 to 60 beats per minute before you take your dive. My Garmin is able to basically show my heart rate to me while I'm in the water, which has been a really great tool. I would say the biggest pro of the Garmin for me. I'm on the way down here. Ben has shot an AJ, and the sharks are kind of swimming around under it. This is really common when we're out doing commercial stuff. The sharks don't like super commit to the fish unless you leave it alone. There's a Goliath down there too. The Goliaths are a different story. They will charge a fish and just eat it, even if you are nearby. But with the sharks, as long as you're near the fish and you put your body in between the sharks and the fish, they're really not gonna actually swim around you and eat it. I'm poking them off now because I'm down there, and I might as well poke them so that they know not to go near us while we're on our way down or diving. They know that we're kind of predators that will poke at them or give them a little bit of pain if they bother us, and that's the purpose of doing that. You fend them off, and Ben's able to pull this AJ up. They're on the way down on some more dives. The sharks kind of know we're hunting, and even though I poked them, they're curious. They know we're gonna provide them with some food, and so when Ben shoots another AJ, this one is much more friendly, getting a lot closer to the AJ even when I'm there. I almost got wrapped up by that AJ. You see, even when I'm there, it goes straight towards me, so I have to like poke it pretty hard. I miss its nose. You really want to poke them in the nose if you can, because that's the most sensitive part of the shark. That's where it receives all those electrochemical signals that allow it to do things like feel a fish's heartbeat with the electro kind of like electricity sensor in its face. I know that sounds like sci-fi. That is a sensory organ that they have in their face. I just don't know that much about it. All I know is that if you poke it, they don't like it, which is good for spearfishing. Anyway, sinking down again, more sharks. Get to the surface. I'm kind of over this whole shark thing. But I'm finally able to kind of, get into a rhythm and get in some dives in past 60 feet. Because really the problem with the sharks is they make you not want to dive super deep because you're afraid that if something happens when you're deep or something like that, they'll they'll become a problem. And when the deeper you dive, the less time you have to deal with problems like sharks or really any kind of inconvenience. But Ben stones this AJ, and when you stone it, the sharks don't really want to eat it, so he leaves it hanging a little bit so that some more AJs might follow it up, and that's exactly what happens here. So I'm sitting here at about 75 feet, and I blast this guy. He takes off, which is, not as good as stoning it, but good for me in terms of the sharks, because if the fish is super lively and running away, the sharks aren't really going to bother chasing it down. They're going to wait for that fish to be a little bit more exhausted, especially these bigger AJs. They really don't want to try to get their faces in close with that powerful tail kicking around, because it'll hit them in the nose, which we've already gone over they don't like. The real danger zone is when the fish stops running at the end of those runs. As soon as the fish is able to be brought up, you have to bring it up. So I get in the boat so I can bring it up quicker, and I'm literally just hand over hand as fast as I can ripping this fish in. Ben's helping too, because the faster you can get that fish up, the more likely it will be that it won't be sharked. Because if you leave that fish down there to tire out, or if you fight it from the surface when you're diving, you're not able to get as much leverage to pull that thing up really quickly, and the sharks have more time, more opportunity to get it. But once I get it near the surface, I also see that its swim bladder blew up. You can see the bubbles there. I know that that's basically my fish. I'm able to get it up to me and land it. Not like the hugest AJ in the world, but still legal for commercial. And we throw it in the boat. Another dive here. You can see we're using a float line behind the back of the boat because the current's really bad. It's just been ripping all day. And so what we're doing is we're hanging onto the float line, diving down, and when we come up, grabbing the end of the float line. We have literally like probably 200 feet of float line hanging off the back of the boat, and sometimes even then the current will drag us past the end of the float line. We have to swim up to the end of it and pull ourselves up. That's also really bad for your heart rate. So these are all factors to think about when you're on your own dive trips, of like current, sharks, visibility. They're all going to mess with your heart rate and your ability to calm yourself down before dives, and they're going to affect your maximum depth. AJ comes right up to me here, and I blast it, but unfortunately my muzzle wraps. So I blast this thing, and I'm literally just hanging onto my gun for dear life as it fights down, grab my belt reel, and clip it to the gun. That is why we have belt reels when we're diving like this. Obviously, if the belt reel was jammed or I didn't have a belt reel, I would just let go of the gun, because there's no way I'm capable of fighting an AJ up, 75, 80 feet like that. But I don't have to because I have the belt reel, which is nice. Anyway, visibility, problems in your dive like that, like your gun, your muzzle wrapping, or sharks, or any of the current related things, those are going to affect your maximum depth. You shouldn't be diving at the maximum depth that you're capable of diving on, say, like a line, when the conditions are poor. Because when those conditions are poor, you're not going to be in your top shape to be able to hit those depths that you're maybe able to hit when you're free diving. All of this is to say that when you're diving, make sure you dive safe and make sure you are well within the limits of what you know you can do when you're diving to prevent shallow water blackout. Anyway, bringing this AJ up to me, a little bit of a boring sequence of clips here. It's kind of just stops. It gives up at the surface, which is nice. It's just kind of shaking. Land this guy, throw him in the boat, reload the gun, and head back down. Now that I'm in my rhythm, I can punch out those dives to 85, 90 feet to for the APs, try to see what might be right above the wreck. A lot of time there's cubera sitting right above the wreck. This was during the summertime, when those cubera come off the bottom a little bit easier. The APs are a little bit higher. Although 85, 90 feet is plenty deep to be able to shoot APs even in some of the winter months. Peak of winter, just like December, even late November, January, it's going to be hard to shoot APs unless you can make it to bottom, which is pretty absurd. Some of these wrecks are in like, 140 feet. But in most of the year, if you can dive 90 feet, you're going to be able to see the APs and shoot them. Anyway, a mango comes up to me, and I love mangoes, so I blast this guy. I stone him, which is nice because a lot of times with these little mangoes, you shoot it, and if you let it dangle or you don't like have the bring it to you immediately or fight it up, it's going to get mauled by a Goliath. The sharks aren't as keen on the mangoes. They do like the little yellow jacks, but Goliaths will just absolutely destroy these mangoes because you shoot the mango, it swims down, and if you don't lock your reel and fight it up, it's going to swim down towards the wreck right into the vicinity of those Goliaths. And the Goliaths can eat that mango really easily. They're just faster than the fish. The fish is wounded. It's got like an 8mm spear sticking out of it. And the weight just keeps the mango from being able to avoid the Goliaths. And the Goliath can just suck it right into its mouth. And then you have to deal with getting your shaft back from a Goliath. Anyway, stoning this thing is nice because I don't have to deal with any of that. And I can just swim the thing up with me. Brain, bleed, and gut it for meat quality. I love these offshore mangoes because the average mango is the size of like a good mango when you're inshore. And the big mangoes offshore are huge. They're like 10 pounds. Take another dive here. And now that I'm in my kind of rhythm, I'm getting down there closer to 90 feet on this little wreck. And these dives are a little bit longer. But again, the deeper you dive, the harder it is to make that dive a long dive because you're using more oxygen to kick up and down. So that is also something to keep in mind. Like if you're able to sit down on the bottom for, 2.5 minutes in 20, 30 feet of water, you won't necessarily be able to dive long at those deeper depths. But here, I'm getting a little bit closer to a pretty deep dive, and I see the school of mangoes. It's quartering away from me. They don't want anything to do with me, so I take the shot right here. Not normally a shot that I would take because it was kind of quartering away from me, but we are on a commercial trip, and a fish is better than no fish, and I know that with a mango I don't have to fight it for forever. I'm just able to kind of pull it straight up to me, throw it in the boat, reload my gun, and we made money off of that dive. I also, if you look at my shot placement, was able to hit it in the behind the gill plate in the head. So we did not lose any money for a body shot. This shot did not ruin the fillet, which means we made full price on that fish. And that's the real reason that I don't like taking those quartering away shots, is because it risks running the shaft down the fillet or hitting it in the middle of the body, which means that it will sell for less when we sell it at the market. I brain the fish, bleed the fish, gut the fish for meat quality, and throw it in the boat as well. Nice little offshore mango. They were all about this size in the school. I didn't see any like nice big ones. Also didn't see any Cabrera, which is sad. But another day. Getting in. Now I'm in my rhythm. I've got some fish. This day was a struggle bus of a day. I mean, I know it looks like we're shooting fish, but the reality is we got out there at 7 a.m. We didn't get back into the ramp until, well after dark. So we are showing you the fish that we shot that day, but I probably took 60 dives that day and only shot, a limited amount of fish. Getting down here, though, see that school of mangoes? I start heading towards it, but I pick my head up here, turn around, and just boom. School of APs coming in. So I stop my dive at about 80 feet so I can just blast one of these APs. Get the biggest one in the school. It takes off. And I start heading back to the surface. What was nice about this dive is that I was really only at like 80 feet. And so I had been intending on diving much deeper to see if there were any bigger mangoes or Caberos under that mango school. So I just get to the surface and just immediately lock my reel and start fighting this thing. Got a lot of gas in the tank. I'm able to just get straight to horsing this AP back up to me. Just blast it in this thing. I'm trying to also make sure I don't get tangled in my own gun and stuff, because while the Goliaths have a hard time getting those big APs in their mouths, it's not unheard of. And if they grab one and I'm connected to the AP in a way that I can't sever, then I'm gonna get sucked down too. See, just like how that AP pulled me down right there, except I was holding on to the line. Sometimes it's easier to hold on to the line and let the AP pull you down so you can act as kind of like a float. Anyway, land this guy, brain him, bleed him, gut him, and when I'm gutting him here, I look into his stomach, and you'll be surprised to see, or maybe not surprised to see, that it's pretty common in them, actually, but a bunch of octopus. Those were 2 of the probably 5 that were in there, but really cool to see Gulf octopus in these AP bellies. I've yet to see like a live one, but I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, that's all the fish I shot. We're about to run into a really big storm on the way back in, so stay tuned for that footage because it is pretty crazy. Alright, we just got off the struggle bus. My hair looks like I spent most of today napping, I'm not even going to lie to you. It was some tough diving. We couldn't find the APs. We ended up getting our limit of AJs, got a few APs. I got a couple mangoes. Ben got some red grouper, but yeah, not every day is a million fish in the boat, but it was fun. We got blessed with the weather today. It wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. I wasn't throwing up everywhere, so that's nice. I'll see you guys in the next one. Uh-oh. We might be cooked on the way in.
Chat, are we cooked? Chat? Chat?
Alright, we made it in. That was horrific. That was quite the run. That's all I got.